Hi there, everybody. So we're engaging in the wonderful world of salad. I don't know, is it wonderful? I don't know. It's just like, honestly, it's just something that I thought about making. I didn't say it was wonderful. I'm just saying it's what I'm doing. So, I'm going to kind of try and get on to lettuce and tolerance. Like, it's not the best view. So, like, you can the water out your lettuce. You just never been always patient enough. Just kind of actually squeeze as much water out as possible. So yeah, you just kind of let the lettuce, the water run through the lettuce, and I can't just honestly let it collect. So I'm gonna go throw away all this part I'm using. So we have the main can, which is me, and we have the salad can, which is your salad. So you can so little it slightly differently. Yes. Okay. Well, maybe that's the best we're gonna get. I feel like we need to layer it. I'm gonna. Fork. I need a better fork for smashing. So I'm gonna try to layer it as I go. I'm gonna smash like some chickpeas. Or cilantro, so it's gonna go bye bye. just wanna like get this citrus going in. Oh, I love it. So I'm using orange today. Also, somebody clicked off when I did that. I'm like, whatever. So strong, still squish your chickpeas. So I don't. Instead of using the blender, I thought, well, what if you just smash your chickpeas? Like this takes longer, but why not? You could kind of just build the tahini texture, but more chunky. It's kind of my thought on it. I'm making this for myself, by the way, so if anybody's offended that I'm touching it, so you can get offended all you want. Like, I wash my hands and this is what I'm making myself eat. So I don't know. I actually have like an apple masher, and I think maybe it's work better. I just want to see how much of it I can just smash on its own without having to get out of blender. So I've kind of smashed it quite a bit, actually. Is smashing actually. Smashy, smash, smash, smash. Okay, well, rinse off the hands. I have my tahini. Tahini, I've gone through this thing of tahini. This is now like my favorite new tahini. It's so creamy. Um, So I used to think back in the day that Jova tahini is pretty good, but I actually really had a major complaint about them is the mechanical separation. It drove me bonkers because like you would have the tahini paste and the oily part and it would separate. And this one is just sesame seed paste, but I feel like because it's I don't know, I just feel like they do a better job. And then there was another one that was organic, but honestly this one just tastes better. Like even though the other one was organic, this one it's a little bit cheaper and it just does what I wanted to do like so much better. So why am I gonna pay like I mean there's a tiny bit of separation, but only once you get to the very very bottom of this thing really, and the separation is just so flippin' minimal. Like it's almost nothing really. So wouldn't you rather have some separation at the bottom only as opposed to like the whole can? And I never really liked that brand a lot because, well, my mom would always buy that brand, but I just was kind of like critical of it. So you could kind of just make your own. It's not exactly hummusy, but it's sort of hummusy. And then I'm just gonna kind of layer. I'm playing around, okay? Just kind of an experiment here. Just kind of playing with this and layering into it. Seeing how it goes. So I just smash, like, I'm gonna smash the avocado too. Everything out. I'm gonna maybe put in more avocado later, but I'll playing with their food here. Mm, it tastes good. I'm gonna use salt. Just very visceral. So I don't really have any salts, but I have some soyaki, so I'm gonna salt it up with a little bit of soyaki, which has more um it has some sesame seed oil in it, so it'll kind of help it along just a little bit there. I don't want to go crazy or anything. We're gonna kind of mash it together. Everybody's gonna come together. Solid. Because rather than, I don't know, I don't want to buy another appliance. This in my kitchen does very little. Rather than buy another processor, you can just kind of make everybody blend it together, like kind of chunky, sort of blended but chunky. So, blended but chunky. I think I just kind of want some chunkiness to it. Is my thought. Because I'm going to start with that much salad. The hip side. Okay. So I also have celery, and I'm going to use the whole thing. Having a lot of fun in the sun, right? I don't know. I might have the second avocado. Maybe not. So I use all the celery. Ah! Away there. So it's kind of not all mashed up. I just kind of use it. A little bit of a layer going on. Let's taste it. Just see. Okay, good. We're having fun, sort of. Exploratory. And the next thing I'm going to cut will be my tomato. I want a tomato layer. To my salad. I want a cilantro layer. I'm going to get all the bad parts out. Just want that one off. I don't know. I'll probably just use it all. I think it's fine. Really cut it. Fun, Arby. Well, you know, as I said once when I was a kid, I was in fourth grade, I said fun is fun. Have fun, right? Let's see. Hi, how's everyone doing? Hi, Selim. Are you from Morocco or India? Where are you from? Where are you from? Tell us where are you from, everybody? I have a lot of viewers from Morocco, India, Mexico, Indonesia, the US too. So I always I'm kind of curious, are a lot of people from Morocco that are watching my channel? Are they from the US? Always kind of curiosity and whatnot. Part of this list is definitely good. Just looking at it right now, that part's going, wow. feel like maybe you guys don't have a good idea of the cam now, do you? So, and then we have, I kind of just want to smash this all up. Once I added the zucchini, and it's kind of not exactly chunky guacamole, but it kind of has that chunky texture to it. I feel like, yeah, the more you add to it, you can kind of just, you can get it really, I think the avocado really helps it along, to be honest with you. Yeah, like look at this. The tahini, the avocado, once you start adding things to it, then just by smashing it by hand, it's really beautiful. It's very, very pretty. So that's one bowl of it. Oh, actually, my finger's a little red. I'm getting stuff on my fingers. Wait. To say the least. Ah! Okay. So, maybe show more of me being. Okay, so fingers red. So this be like salad number one, a bite of it. See what I think. It's pretty good. Okay. Mhm. So that you like salad number one. Okay. I'm gonna pack that one up. Pack that one up for tomorrow. And then start on salad number two. For salad number two, I kind of just want to keep it more avocado-y. I'll get some olives out too. That's really good. Really liked it. Like all the salad fall out. I'll probably have to get out another bowl too. So, yeah, on the salad here. Oh no, don't want you guys falling down there, but you can sit down there for a minute, I guess, while I'm chopping up the salad. I'm just gonna like spend a lot of time for hours like chopping vegetables so finely. That was my grape jelly jam for a long time. I always was like, it would be so good, like when you would take the time to like just chop very finely as opposed to like a rough chop. Just so much more tasty in my opinion. It just makes salad easier to chew too. But sometimes I'm just like, that's kind of why I got so lazy on the food prep thing because I wasn't like chopping up my veggies nice and finely like I once was. And I just decided I can't do that anymore. I've got to chop, you guys. I've got to get it all done. I got to get it prepped properly. So there's some cilantro left. I kind of try to cut it nice and small. Add some of the orange juice. This is the Aaron salad pizzas. I have this avocado. I have the pit part. I'm going to take out the pit. I'm going to make my mixture for the salad for this one. And I still have some of the, I mean, I could get out another can of chickpeas, but honestly, I like chickpeas, but I don't want to that many. That's nice anyway. I mean, I should have bought some of the Beyond Meat stuff because honestly, like, I like beans, but I want to be honest with you, I really do like vegetables. I know some people really hate the packaged made protein. And I guess I could open another can of chickpeas, but I just really like it. This and so let's just incorporate what we have. Let's do mash, mix and mashy mash. A nice mixture. Slippy. We need some tahini. That's gonna be the game changer. Is the tahini, even though the avocado has fat in it, I think he needs the tahini to help him along because they kind of work together. Get that nice fat combo that makes it more like if you're going by hand. I had never tried. But think about it in the day. Like they used to have to make hummus by hand. You would have had to just think about I don't know women Lebanon and Syria. My sisters. They would have had to smash it by hand. They didn't have a blender in 1908. They didn't have canned chickpeas either, did they? How does somebody not go through a jar of tahini in like less than a year? I don't understand because I haven't even been making hummus like I used to. But I use the tahini when I buy it. Like when I do cook, I haven't been even cooking as much, like a fourth, what I usually do. And I bought this in May, and it's like to the very bottom. Like I don't understand how people don't use it. Like, I use it. It's good. This is the best hummus that I've ever not hummus tahini. Best brand. This Mideast brand, really good. Really, really like it. Plus, hands are super messy. I feel like this is so much fun. This is almost like avocado. I think I have like some texture version things. Like I love to eat these foods, but I just hate getting my fingers dirty. It's just kind of funky. I'm just like I don't like it. Like there's just something about it. It's always kind of makes me. So I add some texture in. Should have added some. Should have watched my search, but oh well. I'm using some soyaki to kind of give it some flavor, so it's not like plain, you know. So that is the salad dressing mix, and then flavoring. And then for this one, I wanted this to be spicy because I forgot to do it for the last one. But what I'm going to do is some peppers, okay? Oh no, the tahini's blocking the view. Hey, you're not the star of this show. Salad is. Okay. Shukran. Thank you. Oh, you know what I like? What I love? What I'm having so much fun watching is getting back into watching Magnificent Century. It's like this Turkish show, and they adopted some of the cognate words from Arabic, and like I was noticing that they do have Shukran and some other books, and of course martial art, just things that are really simple. Like I am not a linguist, I really, but I do love listening to Turkish. It's so like it's just so amazing. Like it's a language that I really like a lot. I don't know what it is about Turkish, but I just really love listening to it, like more than any other language that I've ever. Yeah, I have this thing with the Turkish show Magnificent Century, and then I started watching some of Magnificent Century Cosm. I guess it's with this Greek concubines that Sultan. So, but I haven't watched much of it, so I'm getting that wrong. I mean, these shows are loosely based on historical fact. They're not 100% accurate. So if you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, like they're wearing costumes from Rain," yes, you are correct. But I don't know, the writing's pretty good. Like, okay, one of my favorite characters on Magnificent Centuries is Nagar Kalpa. Like, oh Nagar, like I'm just like you're making the wrong choices. I'm like, I don't understand like the two men in the show that are just so sweet and charming, and they're the ones that are just like the really sweet guys, like Matarki and gosh, they just in Bali Bay. They have experienced so much heartache, like, and I think like I know some people say Nagar is cunning, but she's not really. I feel like she's done a lot to try and help Harem, who is she's the Ukrainian woman that was abducted by the Tartars and eventually becomes Suleiman's concubine and then wife. Like, she actually really was supportive of her. Like, look, I haven't done 100% of the historical research on Nagar Kalfa's character, but in the story, I have a really hard time liking Harem all the time. I kind of don't. When it comes to Madivaran, I don't really feel sorry for her. Because I know, like, in the beginning, like, oh, she's jealous of Harem and everything. But I don't know, she's just very, snake-like. Now, her son, yes, Mustafa, I do feel bad for him because, yeah, I mean, and when Harem tries to get him poisoned, oh, I know it's a show, right? But, like, it makes you mad because you're like, ooh, Mustafa, like, you saw him when he was a little boy, and then he's this grown young man and he's very handsome, and he has fallen in love, and his concubine girlfriend, he's not supposed to have a child with her, okay? But he ends up having a child with her, and before that, Harem wants him poisoned, and I just don't really love Harem Sultan. Like, in the beginning, I did like her, and I do still like certain things about her character. I don't completely hate her, but in the series, you kind of don't like her for after a while. And I would say like Madivaran, like maybe a little bit worse, but those two characters and Tis. Oh, and as time goes on, I kind of respect Valda, like Hatitia's mother and Suleiman's mother more. And Suleiman, I kind of feel sorry for him because he's there and he's just watching everybody go crazy. But the thing that I don't really love about it is because he's the leader, double standard city time, okay? Like, oh, Suleiman can sleep with like many women, like he can have a harem, but his number one man got Fargali Ibrahim Pasha, who becomes his grand vizier. Um, he's not supposed to have an affair, even though like in Islam, he could technically have 4 wives, like he could, but because Hatisha is Suleiman's sister, he is considered cheating on her. And I really, even though I don't love Abraham Pasha, he's kind of a jerk too. After a while, you kind of start to feel sorry for him in a way because you see he is a product of his circumstance. He was captured as a slave. He became the companion of Suleiman. So he's never like, even though he becomes in this position of power, he can never really be himself. And he falls in love with Hatisha, but you feel like after a while that he doesn't really feel like he can love her because she tells him that I am, the royalty, like I am the sultanate, like you have to bow to me, like you're always so basically like they're never equals in the relationship. So you kind of feel sorry for him a little bit, but it's just like, there's all these double standards. Like Suleiman, like even though like supposedly, allegedly later on, like he's only with Harem. Which, by the way, I don't know. I believe that. I think like the series might like accentuate it a bit, but of course there were other women in the harem. And do you really think he only slept with Harem? So I don't think they completely lied when they showed like, oh, like he probably was with other women. He probably was, okay? And yeah, the women didn't get to do that, but it was the 1500s. What do you want on a stick? I don't know what to tell you. Like, people get really mad in the comments because I'm watching like the Turkish upload. And by the way, what's really cool about this series is like this Turkish broadcasting company uploaded it to YouTube for free, and you can watch it for free without ads. And people are always like, "Oh my god, I need to like go on Netflix and watch it," but you don't have to pay to watch it. It's free on YouTube. And some people are like, "But the captions are kind of wrong," but they're not completely wrong. And I think if you keep watching the show long enough, like you start picking up a few words in Turkish, and also the acting's just so good that you can kind of get what they're talking about, and the costumes are just fun to watch, even though the women's costumes, okay, they're not 100% accurate, but like, who do I really like in the series? I like Nagar Kalpa, but I wish she would have tried to make Matargi, as somebody said in one of the comments. She should have like tried to make Matargi her husband, because this is what happened. Matargi was going to marry her. Like, she was the Kalpa. She's like a teacher. She's like one of the women that runs the harem, and she's the one that helped Harem Sultan learn how to write in the Arabic script, because Turkish used to be in the Arabic script. And by the way, we talked to somebody called Kate Gladstone on a live stream I did with Aya, and we were going to talk to a Turkish man about how they took Turkish from the Arabic script to a Romanized alphabet back in the 1920s, but at that time they used the Arabic script, alphabet, or Turkish. But anyway, the character Nagar Kalpa helps her learn how to write in the Arabic script and how to speak Turkish and read Turkish. And so anyway, Nagar Kalpa is a very educated woman, but for some reason, like, she's under the spell of Abraham Pasha, but I don't know why. Like, she knows that she can never be with him completely. I mean, he could have her as like a second wife in Islam, but not really, because okay, a lot of this is just for the show, and I'm just getting really into the show here. But in the show, like, if you can suspend some historical belief and just watch the show as like entertainment, which is what I'm doing, okay? In the show, for some reason, Letitia, like, she has more rights than other women, okay? She has more rights than harem, okay? She can divorce whenever she wants, like they say. She can demand that Abraham be completely loyal to her, even though like she has really like, she kind of abused him. Like, she's just not like, at the beginning, like, you feel like Patricia is very sweet and just very innocent, but as time goes on, I don't feel that way. And I feel like in the beginning they always kind of made Valda seem like she was kind of harsh, but actually Valda's not a bad person. She's actually fair, and when you think about it, Valda has been around. Like, she's very beautiful, by the way. Like, this, I think the woman that plays her, she was she's Turkish, but I think she was in beauty pageants or acting. She's just a very beautiful woman, even though she's an older woman. But she was definitely in beauty pageants back in the 60s. She's very beautiful. But Valda, the character, I mean, in real life, I know she was fair, but in the series, you kind of respect her because she just wants the harem to function well. She might not be everybody's best friend, but she wants everything to go well. But oh my gosh, I just love like the comments about this show. People are like, oh, watching the men sit around and give the keys, like, how boring. But it's the women of the harem, and really it is, because there might be battle scenes where the men fight each other to the ends and whatnot, and they're going into Europe. And by the way, all the, I don't know, xenophobes who don't seem to like, yeah, you have some xenophobes, they just don't like Middle Eastern people. Yeah, I actually left a Facebook group today because like somebody was saying something about, oh, um, Muslim people don't want to assimilate Western countries, and I was like, really? I don't think that's all Muslim people. I think that's some people, but it kind of bothered me because I'm like, you know what? This is that same garbage, and I'm part Middle Eastern, and yes, people have said things to me before, like if I ever revealed that my last name was Arabic or that my dad was Syrian. People have been kind of nasty about it. Sometimes they're rude and just made rude comments, and I didn't entirely like it, to be honest with you. No, I don't. I'm going to take that one off now. Just tell me. Okay. So yeah, clean up my area a little bit so I can eat salad. Yeah, so one of my thoughts about that is I was gonna cut up some olives for it too. I just didn't like that. Like these people were saying, "Oh, but you know, if you actually read the history about the Ottoman Empire, people are more mixed than people realize. And the Ottomans, yes, I know, like some white Europeans were in the slave trade, but so were Africans, so were other people. Um, but I'm not justifying everything that the Ottomans did. But a lot of the slaves that were in the Ottoman system eventually like reach high ranks in Ottoman society, not unlike American slavery, which is far more brutal because they were treated far worse. Like I just think I'm not saying like, oh yeah, it's a wonderful system. It wasn't. Like, yes, they did have a slave trade. It was not good. I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but these women in the harem, they didn't exactly have a bad life. If you were chosen by the Sultan and you had a child with the Sultan for that time period, you were an educated woman and you had some control over your life. So it wasn't completely a horrible setup. And I'm talking about that time period, okay? People want to look at the past with a modern lens, and I think we do to some extent, but we can't expect people in the past to act like they do in the present, I'm just saying. But Suleiman was actually a very fair leader. In Turkey, he's called the lawmaker because he was very good at codifying the law. Yes, he was probably a little bureaucratic, but he was fair. He was a poet. He was a jeweler. Like, he's actually somebody I kind of really have come to respect the more I read about him. And I think the historical character Harem, yeah, I think she's not as conniving. Well, she may have been to some extent, but I do think in the series they kind of write her as being overly dramatic. Some people don't like Nagar Khalfa because she goes along with Ibrahim Pasha to kind of undermine Harem. The thing about Harem and Ibrahim Pasha is they're really the same person, but one's a man and one's a woman. But they're really the same person. And there's so much jealousy, which is actually a true part of the story. They both came from a Greek Orthodox background. The theory is either Valda, Suleiman's mother, or Ibrahim Pasha first saw Harem and introduced him or to Suleiman. In the series, the way they write it, which I think is pretty brilliant, and it sets up the whole thing, is that Ibrahim Pasha was the one who first sees her. And okay, this is something I really like about the Turkish show is whereas you have some Western people who's being very ignorant right now, saying it's like, oh, all Muslims are out to get like the world. If you look at the Ottoman Empire, Muslims were part of Europe at one time. Okay, yes, they went into Europe and they did spread their religion through conquering, but so did Christians. Christians did that. What do you think the Crusades were when Christians went back into the Middle East and were trying to recapture the Holy Land? So both the religions have converted people in places they went. There's a difference. Today, most Westerners tend to be secular, and we're not like trying to convert people to our religion. Like, most Western countries tend to be secular. So yes, you do have people from Middle Eastern countries that are Muslim, but Turkish people are a mix of European and Asian. So your complaint is kind of weird. If you actually studied about the Ottoman Empire, oh, you mean their most powerful woman, Harem Sultan, was a European woman that gave birth to the Sultan, who became the most powerful person in the Ottoman Empire, who was a Christian and then converted to Islam? Like, it just kind of shows you how ignorant, like, this libertarian group is. I'm like, don't you know that people intermingle and mixed more than you thought? It's not like everything was so homogenized, but in this Turkish show, like, they could kind of show, like, the Christian viewpoint, like, of the Holy Roman Emperor, like, wanting to make sure that Islam doesn't spread. But, like, I'm not saying that all Westerners are this way, but it's just like they just have this caricature of what Muslims are, and they think everybody wears a niqab or doesn't listen to music. But not all Muslims. A lot of Turkish sultans pick the most beautiful music for their court, and I'm just like they were very artistic and just like ignorance. Okay, ignorance. So yeah, I left a Facebook group today. I said, "Oh, okay, you guys don't like Middle Eastern people. I see. It might be you claim it's about a religion, but you don't like certain people." And yeah, honestly, that's the kind of racism that's still allowed to go on. Is like kind of hate towards Middle Eastern people because most Middle Eastern people sometimes tend to be Muslim, but they do it towards Jewish people. They do it towards Druze people and Christian people. I've seen it. Just the ignorant, stupid comments and even real life comments that somehow, like, if you're part Turkish or Syrian, that's kind of like having a father not without, just really dumb, ignorant stuff. And I'm like, really? Are you kidding me? Like, I didn't know there were still Americans that thought like that in 2021, but whatever. But yeah, I'm not too worried about it. But the show's just really interesting because I'm moving off on a tangent. You should definitely watch Magnificent Century. I really like the girl Kalka, but I'm just like, yeah, she should have tried to be with Miss Harky. And I love Bally Bay, and I'm still not far enough in, but it just breaks my heart. And here's another example of how the Ottomans were just very much more pro religious tolerance than Christians. You want to know why? Oh, what's this thing called the Spanish Inquisition? You mean where they were going to kill and expel the Jewish people from Spain after they kicked out the Moors who happened to be Muslim? Oh, all of a sudden Jewish people aren't allowed to live there anymore. But the Ottoman Empire actually welcomed them to come, like tradesmen and educated people. And there's actually a storyline that's just very beautiful, very tragic, and it involves Bali Bey, who becomes like the advisor to Suleiman. But before like he becomes more of an advisor, he was a soldier, for Suleiman, fighting in Europe. I think he's originally from a Balkan, like Macedonian region. Anyway, when he comes back to Istanbul, he sees a beautiful woman one day in the market who happens to be the daughter um, of a Jewish merchant. And yeah, like he falls in love with her, and it's a very beautiful storyline. But she dies of the plague. It's just very beautiful. It just shows like the amount of religious tolerance that went on because here he was a Muslim, but he married a Jewish woman, and it wasn't like, oh my god, like, oh my god. It just shows the actual history, of what was happening in the Ottoman Empire at the time. Yeah, I liked it. But the sad part is she passes away. It's very sad. She gets a virus. And I was watching that episode a year ago, right when all the COVID stuff started. It was just very tragic film. So he's brokenhearted because of her. So he starts going to the tavern, and I guess he kind of has interest in this Greek woman. It's kind of like I don't know, the Turkish version of Miss Kitty from Gunsmoke or something. And so he kind of preoccupies himself with her for a while, and eventually he um, meets another woman, Abije, who is like the cousin of Valde, and he falls in love with her, but he can't marry her because eventually she becomes engaged to Mustafa. But eventually, like, he's almost going to be executed because he's suspected of like trying to take Mustafa's fiance away. There's so many storylines in the show that are just way out there, but it's a very good show. This is very good, solid. It's very good. Oh yeah, I was going to cook some olives for it. Let's do that. Because I had wanted to add a few olives. So. I think you can kind of take them out of their head. It's probably you first. Just wanted to add some olives to the salad. But also, it gives it more flavor. Okay. I feel like. I like to eat salad. It's better. Add butter to it. So yeah, I really like that show. It's pretty good. I highly recommend it if you're interested in shows with subtitles that are in another language besides the one you speak. Interesting enough, I think it's actually dubbed in Urdu. But it's pretty cool because particular Turkish broadcasting company that uploads it, it's free to watch, and I like. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like an ad for Turkish tourism. If it is, that's cool. I don't really care. That's fun. I mean, I think they deserve that since they're providing this free for people to watch on YouTube. Could be an ad. It's fine. But yeah, I'm kind of interested in. Like, I have been reading some of the real history about it. I'm not going to show you now because I have salad stuff all over my fingers. But anyway, thanks for watching.